Have you ever found yourself endlessly scrolling through social media, feeling like you're just one click away from the life you should be living? That's FOMO, the fear of missing out. This invisible force that tugs at our curiosity, fueling an insatiable hunger for the next best thing. It's an emotion that has been amplified and exploited in our digital age, making us question if we're really living our best lives. FOMO isn't just about wanting to be at the coolest parties or buying the latest gadgets. It's a pervasive anxiety that we're not doing enough, not achieving enough, not being enough. A silent whisper that tells us we're just one step away from the life we should be living. Surprisingly, over 60% of young adults report feeling FOMO regularly. It's a silent epidemic of our digital age, leading to serious mental health issues like anxiety and depression as we struggle to keep up with an impossible standard. It's not just a fleeting feeling, it's a relentless pursuit of an ever-moving target. FOMO is a silent epidemic of our digital age, leading to serious mental health issues as we struggle to keep up with an impossible standard. Existential autonomy is about being the author of your own life story, making choices that are truly yours. This concept is deeply rooted in existential philosophy, which places a great emphasis on personal freedom, responsibility, and authenticity. Existentialist thinkers like Jean-Paul Sartre argue that we are all condemned to be free. This might sound strange at first. How can freedom be a condemnation? Well, it's because our freedom means we are responsible for our choices, and those choices define who we are. We are, in essence, the sum of our decisions. In other words, we are the authors of our own life stories. We write our narrative through the choices we make, from the small decisions like what to eat for breakfast, to the larger ones like what career to pursue or who to build a life with. However, this freedom to choose can be both liberating and daunting. The sheer number of possibilities can sometimes feel overwhelming, leading to what Sartre termed anguish. But as he argued, it's through embracing this anguish that we truly exercise our freedom and become authentic beings. But here's where the plot thickens. What happens when our choices, our narrative, are clouded by the fear of missing out? When we're constantly bombarded by images and stories of other people's perfect lives on social media, it's easy to start questioning our own decisions. Are we making the right choices? Are we missing out on something better? This is where FOMO rears its head, casting a shadow over our existential autonomy. The fear of missing out can make us feel like we're not living our best life, that we're somehow falling behind or failing to keep up with everyone else. This can lead to a constant state of dissatisfaction and anxiety, as we're always chasing after what we don't have, rather than appreciating what we do. So we find ourselves in a situation where our desire for personal autonomy, our quest to be the authors of our own lives, is in conflict with the social pressures to live a certain kind of life. We're torn between wanting to make our own choices and the fear of missing out on the perfect lives we see on our screens. This raises a crucial question. Are we truly living freely if we're constantly worried about what we're not doing? If our decisions are driven by fear and comparison, rather than our own desires and values, can we really claim to be the authors of our own lives? In the next part of this video, we'll delve deeper into the role of social norms and expectations in this psychological tug-of-war. But for now, let's ponder on this. Are we truly living freely if we're constantly worried about what we're not doing? Social norms are the unwritten rules of society. They tell us what's acceptable, what's successful, and what's desirable. These norms guide our behavior and decisions, shaping our perceptions of success and fulfillment. But what happens when these norms create a fear so pervasive that it paralyzes us? Welcome to the world of FOMO, the fear of missing out. Social norms are like invisible puppet strings, pulling us towards certain behaviors, values, and choices. They're the invisible hand that nudges us towards the crowd, whispering in our ears, "This is the way, this is how you should live." But let's take a step back and ask, who defines these norms? In days gone by, these norms were shaped by close-knit communities and cultures. They were passed down through generations, like a sacred torch that guided the way. But in today's hyper-connected world, these norms aren't just shaped by our immediate communities. They're amplified, distorted, and repackaged by social media. Every scroll, every click, every like is a constant reminder of what we should be, what we should have, and what we should aspire to. These amplified norms create a perfect storm for FOMO. They set an impossibly high bar of success and fulfillment. We see the highlight reels of others' lives and compare them to our own behind the scenes. This comparison, this relentless pursuit to keep up, feeds into our FOMO. And here's where it gets tricky. We're not just afraid of missing out on experiences, we're afraid of making the wrong choices, of deviating from the norm. We're afraid of the judgment, the raised eyebrows, the whispers of disapproval. This fear can paralyze us, leaving us stuck in a state of inaction, constantly second-guessing ourselves. We're caught in a tug-of-war. On one end, we have our desire for existential autonomy, the freedom to make our own choices, to write our own story. On the other end, we have the relentless pull of social norms, constantly tugging us towards conformity. This tension, my friends, is the heart of FOMO. But remember, social norms are not set in stone. They're fluid, constantly evolving with societal changes. And just as they're influenced by society, they can be influenced by us. We have the power to challenge these norms, to question their relevance in our lives. We have the power to define our own success, our own fulfillment. We don't have to conform to a one-size-fits-all model of life. We can carve our own path, one that aligns with our values, our passions, and our unique journeys. So the next time you find yourself scrolling through social media, feeling the pull of FOMO, take a moment to pause and reflect. Ask yourself, am I pursuing this because it aligns with my values, or am I being swayed by the invisible puppet strings of social norms? When these norms are broadcasted 24/7 through our screens, the pressure to conform becomes overwhelming, leaving us unable to make any choice at all. But remember, the power to choose, to define your own life lies in your hands. Don't let FOMO steal that from you. Now let's hear from some brave souls who've battled FOMO and fought to reclaim their autonomy. First, meet Jessica, a college student from New York. Jessica found herself spending countless hours scrolling through Instagram, feeling like she was missing out on the college experience her friends seemed to be having. She felt stuck, comparing her life to the carefully curated highlight reels of her peers. But Jessica decided to take back control. She limited her screen time, joined a hiking club, and started focusing on her own journey. She soon realized that her life was not less but different, and that made it uniquely hers. Now let's talk about Tom, a stay-at-home dad from California. Tom was constantly bombarded with images of successful entrepreneurs and high-achieving professionals. He felt like he was missing out on the high-paced career he had given up for his kids. But Tom chose to challenge this feeling. He began to appreciate the precious moments he was spending with his children, moments that no career success could replace. He realized that his choice was not a sacrifice but a privilege, and that realization helped him overcome his FOMO. Finally, meet Aisha, a corporate lawyer from Texas. Aisha was always on the go, trying to keep up with the expectations of her profession, but the constant barrage of vacation photos and leisurely brunch posts on her feed made her question her choices. Taking a step back, Aisha decided to redefine her own success. She began to value her professional achievements, but also made time for self-care and relaxation. She learned to balance her work and personal life, and in doing so, she reclaimed her autonomy. Each of these stories underscores the fact that FOMO can affect anyone, regardless of their life situation. But they also show us that it's possible to overcome this feeling, to take back control, and to live authentically. FOMO doesn't discriminate, but each story is a testament to the strength of the human spirit. We've seen how FOMO can strip us of our autonomy, leaving us chasing shadows of fulfillment. It's a silent epidemic, a pervasive anxiety that whispers in our ears, telling us we're not living our best lives because we're not doing what everyone else seems to be doing. It's an unending tug-of-war between our desire for personal autonomy and the relentless pull of social norms. FOMO doesn't discriminate. It affects over 60% of young adults, and it's not just a fleeting feeling. It can lead to serious mental health issues, like anxiety and depression, as we struggle to keep up with an impossible standard. But remember, it's not just about wanting to be at the coolest parties or the trendiest hangouts. It's about the fear that we're not living up to our potential, that we're not living our best life. Existential autonomy, the idea of being the author of your own life story, making choices that are truly yours, is often clouded by the fear of missing out. The allure of social media can make us question our choices. Are we really living freely if we're constantly worried about what we're not doing? Social norms, the unwritten rules of society, tell us what's acceptable, what's successful, and what's desirable. But when these norms are broadcasted 24/7 through our screens, the pressure to conform becomes overwhelming. This tension can paralyze us, leaving us unable to make any choice at all, for fear it's not the right one. We've heard from brave souls who've battled FOMO and fought to reclaim their autonomy. From a college student to a stay-at-home parent, each story is a testament to the strength of the human spirit, but it's not all doom and gloom. There are ways to overcome FOMO. Setting boundaries, for instance, can be a powerful tool. It's about knowing when to switch off, when to step back from the screen and step into the real world. It's about reclaiming your time and your mental space. Practicing mindfulness can also help. It's about being present in the moment, not worrying about what you might be missing out on, but focusing on what you're experiencing right here, right now. It's about embracing your unique journey, not comparing it to anyone else's. It's not easy, but it's possible. We can overcome FOMO. We can reclaim our autonomy. We can live authentically, not shackled by the fear of missing out, but empowered by the freedom of choice. So, what's your story? Have you felt the pull of FOMO? Share your experiences in the comments below, and let's navigate this journey together. A huge thank you to everyone who shared their story for this video. Your courage and honesty are not just inspiring, they're a beacon of hope for those grappling with the fear of missing out. You've shown us that it's possible to reclaim our autonomy and live authentically, even in this hyper-connected world. We also want to acknowledge the psychologists, philosophers, and social scientists who've lent their expertise to our exploration of FOMO. Your insights have shed light on a complex issue, deepening our understanding and sparking important conversations. Finally, we're grateful to all of you out there watching. By engaging with our content, you're part of a growing community dedicated to exploring the human condition in the digital age. If you haven't already, we invite you to join us on this journey. And if you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more content on living authentically in a connected world.